I'm excited to share with everyone here tonight a little bit about how money works and how that tool is working. And I guess the first off to start, I think it's always important. I tell you how I start every one of my days is start every day with really reflecting on what I want, my goals. Um, and I think it's just so important to be reminded. We get on some of us are here a couple times a week. Some of us once a week, some of us maybe we haven't been part of this for a little while. And I want to share a story. I had a client of mine call me, and she's been a client for years now. She's got insurance policies. They have investments with us, and she's a nurse. And she got the COVID-19. She was calling because she wanted to see if there's anything we can do to help. She's going to be okay. She's going to fully recover. But it was an interesting call because it reminded me of how many people out there right now are underprotected. In this case, she's got two little girls, and she's turned a corner on it, and it knocked her down. The way she looked at it, she's like, it kind of felt like a really bad cold, and I was able to fight through it, and my kids are okay, and my husband's okay, and I'm glad I'm protected. And at the same time, one of the things a lot of our conversation was about was the fact that she was very frustrated with how she was treated by her healthcare provider. And I've been hearing this now from multiple different sources of people in the healthcare world that are very stressed out right now. These are our frontline workers. And when you talk about a war, right? In a war, it's the soldiers, right? The Marines go in, right? Well, for this crisis we're dealing with, it's the nurses, it's the doctors, it's those people that are in the front line. And when you look at nursing homes, this particular person works in a nursing home. 50% of the people who have died in a nursing home, right? And so what's interesting about that is that the employer was trying to tell their employees, well, how do we know you got the virus here at work? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine being treated like that? And it just reminded me of the kind of things that happen out there in the world, and how people are exploited and taken advantage of, especially the ones helping the most right now. And it just reminded me again of why it's so important. And I'm glad that I have worked for myself and been able to build a business. God, it's been now 25 years. And I think that was probably one of the biggest things for me, was always about control and being in control, even though sometimes it's not easy and there's big challenges with it. But it was another thing that reminded me again, sold me the dream on why it's so important to be in control of your income and be in control of your life. When you think about this whole crisis, what's the big discussion right now? Should we open? Should we not open? This state opened up. If you break it down, it's a battle between health and wealth. It's a battle between health and wealth. I mean, in actually what's playing out right now is exactly what are the two most important things in people's lives, is their health and their wealth, and I'm proud that we can assist people in the area of wealth, and at the same time protecting that health, at least through if something were to happen to them. And so I think it's just important to always know why you're doing this, our mission, and why you're doing it for yourself, for your own personal benefit. Because if you don't do that, it's so hard to get knocked off course, especially,
Come on, man.
People are completely paralyzed.
Pressing your fucking luck.
Angelo, you're not muted.
So anyway, so the bottom line is that it's created some challenges, right? And it also created some opportunities for us. I think so. The bottom line is we need to just get the word out, share it with people, and help them understand the value that we provide to them. And so I look at the tools, right? Because a lot of times people don't know what they don't know, right? They don't know what they don't know. And one of the reasons why people don't take action a lot of times, number one, they're paralyzed by fear. But the other reason is just because they don't know if they can trust the source. They don't know if you're credible, okay? And I know we're credible. You know we're credible. You believe in what we do, right? Isn't it so frustrating sometimes? Is that you're trying to help that other person, but they don't want our help, right? And you're like, your intentions is pure, but they don't want our help. And sometimes there's nothing you can do, but there's other times where it's just you haven't dripped on them enough, or part of it is they just don't see it as a credible source. So all these different tools that we've created here are just really designed to help you more than anything, okay? For the ladies out here, I think we've got some ladies. I want to share something with you. So I think we've talked about this before, but I think this is powerful. And let's just hope all my screen sharing works here properly today. Okay, here we go. I don't know if you know this, and you may have heard this before, ladies. Can you see that? A level playing field where women can win? The #1 independent broker dealer for women representatives by Investment News. How many years in a row, everybody? 7 years in a row. 7 straight years. We have the most women producing successful. It's not just about agents, right? Like who's got more agents. It's not about, it's producing representatives that are profitable 7 years in a row. I think we're almost double the next person. That's bigger than Raymond James. There's a whole list of companies. Voya for advisors, bigger than them. I mean, I got the list here somewhere. I just don't want to delay, but I can go through all that. I mean, #1. Now, they don't do WFG because it's a lot harder to track it. The federal in broker dealers are federally regulated, so everybody falls under that. Whereas tracking the insurance agencies, it's all done by state. I can with 99.9% certainty, I'm going to tell you. Ladies, why is that? Why is that? There's got to be a reason. I'm going to get into all that, but I think the big part of it is our approach. It's the financial education approach. I think that's a huge reason. I think the fact that you control your own schedule. I think a big part of it is because there's no difference in contract level. If you're an SMD and me and you are SMDs, we're at the same level. We can get paid exactly the same amount of money. If you're an EMD, we have the same opportunity. You're CEO, et cetera. You have the same exact opportunity. So income inequality has been a big problem. I mean, we know the diversity of this company, equality, right? 80% of look at this, 80% of the average American female professional working full-time year-round earn 80% of what their male counterpart made in 2016. 100%. Female reps at TFA have earned 100% of what their male counterparts have earned for the same production since our broker-dealer began in 1984. This is the year which women will reach pay equity with men. Look at that, 21. You got time for that? Where for us, it's right now. It's already happened, right? So I think that's just an important thing. You got to know. You got to be proud and look at what we have. I really know I want to shift now in talking about our presentation, our website here, before I get into how many works. This is a powerful presentation. We just went over that here a minute ago at 6. Not a minute ago. At 6 o'clock today. And that was the presentation. We talked about the wealth crisis, okay? So that was great because it just goes over to key points. Remember, you have access to this. You can share this. And I want to just take a second here to talk about having your own website and why I believe it's important. It's the same reason why I was 1998, before I had my license, when everything was high touch, there was technology. You couldn't buy a computer for less than $5,000 back then, a laptop, right? Everything was high touch. Everything was face to face. And I remember I wanted people to take me seriously. I wanted people to know that I was in business, right? And today, to be in business, you got to have a website. I'm just, from a credibility point of view, I tell my teammates, I tell anyone here, you guys can leverage and use my website as much as you want. It doesn't matter. Go ahead, use Todd's, use whoever you want. You can use that. But what you're doing is when you're sharing that, and if you just started, I understand, you're still learning, whatever, but you're basically saying it's that person's business, not your business. So it really just comes down to what kind of stand you want to take or what kind of statement you want to make. So I think that's why it's so important in today's world that you got to have your own personal website. I know it was about 2 or 3 years ago, I had my own website built that revolved around Heartland, and I spent over $1,000 just to build it. And I'm going to tell you, it's one page of this is better than that entire thing, So it's just because it's all formed together. It's done by professionals. It's done really well. So I think it's important to keep that in mind. And then what that does is that just links us over here now to how many works, okay? So when we're approaching people, what is it? How should we approach them? What should we say? And that's the main gist of what we're going to talk about tonight is how do we approach them so that we have the most, how do we say, how we have the best success possible, okay? So let's start here with knowing our mission, okay? What is our mission? Our mission is to stamp out financial illiteracy in the state of Illinois. And guess what? You think it's going to get any better, or is it going to get worse with what's going on? I think we know it's gotten worse, right? That whole thing of, was it 40% of people don't have a $400 in case of an emergency? That's why when you heard those stories of people in long lines, it's sad. They didn't have the emergency fund. Some people are down on their luck, right? Things happen. But at the end of the day, we know that the more informed people are, right, the better opportunity they have. Someone's not muted. Better opportunity that they have of recovering, right? So our goal is to stamp out financial literacy in the state of Illinois, and not just Illinois. This is just slide, of course, across the country, okay? So when you're out there approaching people and sharing the book, right, we're probably wondering, and we're going to post this, but I think it's important you listen. And just as I go through this, sometimes we still don't know what the right words to say are. What should we say? What are we supposed to say? I think the easiest thing is, hey, I want to share with you what I'm doing, right? But if you want to, I guess if you want the words, right, and to build upon those words, right? So sometimes we just need an outline because we don't have maybe we haven't had a whole lot of experience in sales or marketing or in leadership maybe, right? And I know when I first started 25 years ago, I was a pretty timid guy. I was really scared. I didn't like doing presentations. I didn't like talking to strangers. And I was like that for most of my life. It's one of the reasons why I got in business, because I wanted to overcome that. And so when people gave me the words, they gave me a guideline, it helped me to kind of get it going. And so I went from a stage of being like awkward, right, to more like a mechanical, and then it became very natural for me, right? And I still like these words because it helps me organize my thoughts. Think about how many thoughts come into our mind, how many different things come to us on a day-to-day basis. And I mean, what do you do for a living? I mean, I've answered that question so many different ways. I think now it's just like I teach people how money works, right? What is it you do? I teach people how money works. Oh, that's pretty good, right? We show people how money works, right? So if you're not at that level where you're an educator yet. But here's some of the words that we've been using here around this moment, like with our tools. Feel free to use them, right? So when you give out a book, it's important that you write some type of meaningful note in your books, right? So, I mean, I've heard all different things. There's no right or wrong. This is just important thing about this. We want to be authentic, right? We want to be ourselves. I think one of the most important things in being successful and feeling good about what you're doing is that when you say the words come out of your mouth, you want them to come from your heart, okay? But you have to understand that doesn't happen overnight. You got to start somewhere. And then as you have more experiences and you have more stories, it becomes a more natural conversation. But you can't go wrong with this one, right? So you write the contact's name, Todd. Yeah, we teach people how money works. So maybe it's just writing to me, mail out a book, right? Hey, we teach people how money works. It's not taught in schools. Everybody wants to be smarter with money. Who's going to argue with that? You always want to make statements that are not objectionable. Like, you're not looking to debate people. You're just really looking to share information, right? This book we use for our master's class. By the way, we have a master's class coming up, as Todd mentioned, on Saturday. It's going to be taught by one of the best. It's exciting. You got an opportunity to plug into it. I know it's Memorial Day weekend, and I get all that. But imagine if you just took a 2-hour break in your weekend and plugged in and got a chance to listen to one of the best trainers and leaders, right? It's one thing to be able to speak and train. It's another thing to actually be doing it. So you got an opportunity to learn from someone who is doing it and has perfected himself after 25 plus years doing this. So master's class. So we're going to have that. That's our workshop. That's the workshop that we're going to be adopting. You can utilize any workshops that are available. See, one of the things I love about right now is that we're not restricted by any specific. So if you're part of a certain team, you're not restricted just to their training. Right now, everything's online. You get an access code to it. You can go listen to it. There's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, you got to take action, though. That's it. So it doesn't. We can learn all we want, but you really learn when you take action, right? So the nice thing about this workshop is that it's backed up by a book that has a tremendous amount of credibility, which is what I was talking about earlier. So financial literacy is about an hour, right? So, hey, this is a book we use for our master class. What's that? Financial literacy in about an hour. You can get it on Amazon, but I wanted you to have a copy from me. Now, if that person goes, oh, I can get it on Amazon, the curious, skeptical person might be like, is that real? They type in how many works, stop being a sucker. Boom, there it is, $17. They see it right there. Another person might not think anything about it. Oh, thank you. That was so nice of you. That was sweet of you. Whatever it is they're thinking, right? All the best. You put your name down and you put your phone number, okay? You send it out. Now, once you've sent out that book, and I know I've sent it out to some teammates, and then they passed it on to their kids, and their kids read it, and they were blown away by it and very intrigued about getting involved in the business. Now, once we've done that, you got to remember, it's still a numbers game. I don't care how amazing the book is. The book can speak. When they open it up, it just talks to them, and Steve could jump out of the book and touch them. People still not going to be interested. It's still, at the end of the day, a numbers game. You know, Phil just shared earlier, and there's so many stories like this. I think it was a book he gave out 5 years ago. That person finally was ready. Why? Because he continued to follow up. So one thing I know about Phil and Lisa especially keeps that all organized, is that they're relentless on their follow-up. They're always after it. And so people, I know one of the best at that is Mario. A guy worked 7 years on some cases. And hey, when did you get that case? Well, I've been working on that for 7 years, right? So just understand that every book is a seed that may turn into a big flower, right? It could be a tree. It might just be buried for a little while, and then it might come up, okay? But if you don't follow up, it can never rise. It can never grow, right? So now what we have here, and like I said, we'll post this, we've got just different things that you can send to them to follow up, okay? Here's one of them. You can send them this particular link. When they click on that link, it will take them over to, find it here. Oh, not that one. Click on it. Second. There you go. So now I've got to share another screen, I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Yes, I do. So I'll take them to this. The simple formula that tells you how long it will take for your money to double while you sit back and relax, right? I hope you can see that. Can you see that? Yes, I hope. Okay. So
Yes.
Thank you. And so right in here, it just talks about the Rule 72. So, I've known about the Rule 72 since 1996. I meet people still every single day. They're 90, I would say 95. It's probably closer to 99. I'm just going to say 95% of the people that I meet have never heard of Rule 72. I've known about this since 1996. How is that even possible? Because it's not taught, right? So we can never, one important thing is we can never forget that most of the time when people are seeing this information, it's their first time. So we have to connect back to the enthusiasm that we had. So it's important to have that enthusiasm. Well, anyways, it goes through and it talks about it. And here we got CNBC. That's a big deal. CNBC is endorsing what we're doing. Guys, that's an endorsement from CNBC. I'm sorry, we've never had that in history. I've never had that. That's why I cannot take that lightly. How many have we sent out, right? I know I've been mailing out books, man, and I know I've got to get a lot more out in the mail, right? Because go drop them off if you want. Here's another one. This is a great one, okay? In fact, this one was recently came out. I'm going to share this, and I'm going to play this, okay? Hopefully you'll be able to hear it, and there won't be any issues with that. Okay, second. This is a great one. You can send them this link. I was having a little issue with this one earlier. Okay.
Were you forced to take a pay cut or worse? Did you lose your job during the COVID crisis? Well, here's the secret. In a world full of chaos comes massive opportunities.
Can you hear that?
All right, well, that's some good news. And to give us how
Yes.
we have invited a
Okay,
financial
great.
expert and author of the best-selling book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker, Steve Siebold. Good to see you, Steve. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. So, you know, very few people really know how money works. It's so interesting that there are not more courses taught in schools, right?
It's unbelievable. We don't teach anything. We don't teach our kids anything about money, and the things that we do teach them in the schools typically don't really matter in their daily lives, and it's really a problem.
So what is really the difference between how wealthy people look at money compared to those who are not wealthy?
Well, the self-made wealthy, which I've studied for the last 36 years, look at money in terms of opportunity and freedom, and really the chance to live a more stress-free life. Whereas most of us are taught to think about money in terms of scarcity and fear, and which there's obviously a lot of fear out there right now.
So what are some of the financial steps that we can take during the quarantine? I think a lot of people are hoarding their money probably right now.
Well, that's true. And I think the first thing I would recommend is change your perspective, your attitude about money, and start looking at it in terms of possibility, again, freedom and dreams and all the things that really built America. I think that's the first one.
But wait, before you ask the second, how do we do that?
Well, I think it's a mindset shift that we have to make. Study wealthy people, see how they talk about money, read their books, read their biographies, watch their interviews on YouTube or the internet somewhere, and just notice how they think about money compared to the way you think about money.
You also say to be entrepreneurial, and obviously there's a lot of problems out there, so you could probably, I mean, just an example, they're trying to make fashion out of these COVID-19 masks that people have to wear. They're probably making a good buck out of that.
They sure are. A lot of people are stepping up. They're becoming entrepreneurs, formerly employees, now turning from what we call E to E, employee to entrepreneur, maybe because they're forced to, or they're very creative. I mean, America was built on innovation. We're innovators. That's what we've always done for 200 plus years. And this is probably the greatest time in any of our lifetimes to stake your own claim and become an entrepreneur.
What do you mean by everything is negotiable these days?
Well, in terms of paying your mortgage, your rent, your any bill you have, a car payment, anything, this has never been seen before in the history of this country. Really, the history of the world has never shut down like it is now. So call your bank if you're behind. If you've got plenty of money, don't worry about it. But if you're struggling, call your bank. Tell them that. See if you can get a deferral on your mortgage. I know hundreds of people that have gotten deferments on their mortgages for 90 days or more. Their car payments. Their rent if they're renting, and these companies will work with you. Credit card companies will work with you. They've been very good about it since the crisis.
You also say leverage your network.
Yeah, this is the time to reach out to your personal network, your professional network, your online network, and talk to people if you're looking for a new opportunity. I know a lot of people, obviously 33 million people have applied for unemployment, and that's a very sad thing. And a lot of those jobs are probably not coming back, unfortunately. So reach out to people and see what new opportunities that you can drum up. Now's the time to be talking to everyone, especially when you're at home and you have time.
And you say get excited for the turnaround.
Oh yeah, this is going to be the biggest turnaround, most likely from a financial perspective, in American history. So the opportunities that are going to be created from this are most likely going to be unprecedented. So get excited, because we will come out of this. America always comes out eventually because we are innovators. We are entrepreneurs at heart, and the opportunities will be fabulous.
You know, of all the interviews we've had in the last 6 weeks, I'm actually most encouraged by that one.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. So we appreciate it. Check out your book. And also, if you would like to get financial advice from Steve, you can check out howmoneyworks.com.
I mean, is that powerful? I mean, really? I mean, I was like, what? What? Somebody say something? I mean, it's okay. You can share.
I said that's out of sight.
It's thank you. I mean, come on. I mean, what? I mean, seriously, really?
Life is about
like, I watched it. I'm like, okay, Anthony, you got to do more. I mean, what do you like? You're not doing enough. That's what I think right away. It's the first thing that I think, because everything. And it's interesting. Remember, these broadcasters. You notice how you ended, man. Out of all the ones we've done, I think it's the most encouraging one. I don't know about you, but I felt more. I watched it. That was my second time watching it because I just got it today, and I'm more encouraged. Right? You know, it's interesting. We did a webinar. I think it was with Jimmy Bullock from Nationwide. He's like, man, I love doing stuff for you. It's just something to that effect, because he deals with other people outside of WFG, outside of our Wealth Wave, our company TFA, whatever. And he always likes doing stuff for us because we always have a different attitude. That's probably the biggest thing that separates us from everyone else, because we're in control. because we have the mindset, the people who lead in this company have always had the mindset they can turn a challenging situation into an opportunity. In fact, that's what this country has been founded on. Why? Because we have the most diversified economy in the world. Apple is like, I was just reading something, Apple's market cap is larger, I don't know if it is right now, but I know it's larger than many companies' GDP. I mean, most countries, GDP, right? So that's just one company that we have. So this is exciting, but yeah, but at the same time, we got more financial challenges than we're not ranked that high in terms of financial literacy. You guys know the studies. So once again, this stuff that some of you know, but if we don't share what we know. Last week, and I'm going to get this information out, I was invited by Chris Fountain to a seminar on college debt. Is that a big issue? 1.6 trillion, everybody. 1.6 trillion. And before the 2008 crisis, you ready for this? It was like 300 billion. How did that, what? So 12 years ago, it was 300 something billion. 1.6 trillion now. How did that happen? You think it's because the government's looking out for your best interest? Is that why you think it happened? So anyways, we got connected to another person who can help with people getting out of that debt, and that's a big challenge. We are a resource to save people from the biggest pain, some of the biggest pain that they have in their life. We just got to use the tools that we have to get the word out. Can't be secret agents, and can't be afraid. If you're afraid of the virus, then mail, man. Just put it in the mail. When you get mail, sanitize it, and then follow up with the websites, right? All the different stuff that we have to really get out there and make. There really is no excuse. And, if this happened 10 years ago, we'd have some big excuses. We would. We have some real challenges. All we'd be doing is the phone right now. And I think it's really hard to do what we do over the phone. It really is, right? All right, so let me share a couple more things here regarding the words, okay? So another thing, so you got that, then you can also, another thing you can follow up with them is the media tour, right? There's this video, and when you get this, there's a link and it takes them to the media tour, right? I'm not gonna go and play all that. You got the video from George, right? You can send a link for them. Or you can just send them to your personal website, which is exactly what I've been doing. So what I've been doing with all my follow-ups is I simply, instead of sending them to, let's say, this one here, okay, because all those links will take you, hope you can see that, should show you a picture of Tom Matthews. Those links will take you to this website, which is cool. I mean, you can do that. I personally rather take them to that one. Yeah, that one, because it's got my picture on it. It's me, right? And I know, like, Joanne's been sharing with me, like, she's a baby boomer, right? I didn't grow up with the internet, but I grew up with some good technology, right? But it's been a big adaptation. And for Joanne, I know she's been adapting, and now she's getting a lot of great feedback from the people she's been sharing her website with, like, wow, it's impressing them that she has her own website that is this well designed. I may have shared this before. My brother-in-law gets paid huge money to design websites. Okay, like that's his job. He's the artist behind it, and he's really impressed with what they've done with this website. So, anyways, I can send them this video, and it's just a follow-up. Hey, did you read the book in a funny way? Right? You got the millennial in there, and this is the one I like sending everybody. It's just me at this point. I just go ahead and I copy, and I paste this right here, because it takes them directly to the media tour. The media video is about 1.5 minutes, right? And then if they're intrigued, they can watch more interviews. I'm sure they're going to add that one he just did. I'm sure they're going to continue to update this site. I don't have to worry about them I don't have to update it. I just got to be contributing to it, right? And so they got all these different media tours. And then if someone really gets in there, there's an article from CNBC, and there's another one on 10 reasons you're not making more money. There's another article here, states should require students to take personal finance classes. There's another one, self-made millionaire. There's another one, 28-year-old. So bottom line is, what are we looking for? We're looking for people that are looking for us. But here's the other thing I know. You know what I also know people are getting sent during this crisis? You know what other kind of emails are getting sent? A lot of funny, goofy text messages. Yeah. Anybody get any of those? Somebody doing something funny, a lot of political ones going on, all kinds of stuff going on right now, right? And I laugh, and it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I think that's all part of it. We should have fun, right? Respect people, make money. That's actually how the original one goes, and then have fun. But it doesn't matter what order. Bottom line is those are the three principles. Respect people, make money, have fun. Respect people, have fun, make money. Bottom line is this is making money. This is what this is talking to people about. So maybe they need to get something that's going to help them other than releasing some stress. Maybe it can release some stress long term by giving them the knowledge, right? So anyway, that's another way you can share